Aura farming. I thought Drew McIntyre was going to have something to say after Monday being kind of tossed around like a jabroni by Roman Reigns and CM Punk and the Cool Kids Club over on Raw. And he delivered. I thought he stood up for himself well, Javier, in his comeback promo. He talked about the lineage of his title. He brought up being the champion when the world shut down. And he called him Fragile Phil. I think he knew better than to take too many shots at Roman Reigns, but obviously because he's got a feud with Punk that is fresh in the past. Roman, he's got to save his ammo for when that comes up. But he did say that if it weren't for the Samoan Army, he would have beat Roman Reigns too. But I'm sure he's saving his top insults for when a feud is really around the corner. Drew needed to show up after being the crowd was like, no, we want Roman, we want you to face CM Punk, not Drew, and it made Drew feel like a secondary champion. I really didn't doubt if given a chance, Drew would be able to show up and do a good job. There is a fire lit under him and has been for a couple of years. And I thought he looked every bit the alpha male that Roman and Punk did in a well-deserved, highly praised segment on Raw. I'm curious what you thought.
Yeah, I think both him and Cody nailed their parts out of the park. Yeah. It was what they needed to do. I found it interesting because it almost feels like, it doesn't feel like he straight up called out Raw and said that the SmackDown has to step up because them's fighting words is pretty much what that promo was. Yep. Felt very babyface to me actually.
From who?
From Drew.
Gotcha.
In terms of not that aspect of it felt babyface, not like he's a full babyface, but I thought it was great because he fired back on that. He doesn't have an opponent yet, really, so he doesn't have anyone to really go after other than just because he can't oversell the fact that it's going to be probably Jacob Fatu and Cody for WrestleMania. So just hit the people who've he's been having issues with, and then say turn the whole idea that Elimination Chamber is 6 people who are going to be fighting, to get to him.
Crawling over each other, yeah.
Exactly. So to try to drum it up, but yeah, I think he did a good job because after watching that the one on Raw and
the
then
Punk Roman segment,
and hearing you and Todd talk about it and other commentary on it, it kind of definitely felt like, oh wow, they're really kind of painting this as this is the match to watch. But I think I still think that's the match to watch, but they're going to give them a fight if they continue the way they're going. I mean, granted, it's still going to be a while. Like, the question is, can they keep this hot for a long period of time?
Yeah, it's a long time away, yeah. Right. Well, the Wade Keller news bulletin for VIP members that I wrote before SmackDown had posted on the site, the PDF, all text, and audio version of it. The top story was my analysis of that promo on Monday and how I thought I went into how artful I thought it was in terms of what it included and also what it, I believe strategically, but perhaps through happenstance and good instincts, avoided that would have undercut it. So VIP members, check that out. Also have the latest on Impact ratings and what was the other? I already forgot now that my mind has been on SmackDown. Bringing it up here. Oh yeah, the F Ice chants, all the news that made, and then also little explanation for why I did not like the Brody King MJF ending for those who didn't hear me talk about it Wednesday night in the Post Dynamite show, and also just kind of refine the argument a little bit because I hadn't written it yet. I had just talked about it. So all that is there. If you're not a VIP member, you're missing out on the Wade Keller news bulletins. Check it out, pwtorch.com/govip to get information on all the benefits that come with VIP membership. The bulletins come with a full VIP membership, credit card, PayPal, debit card, all kinds of ways to sign up, and comes with a lot of new stuff every week, podcasts in written format, and also nearly 4 decades of archives. But we're here to talk further about this promo, and the chat right now has some comments on what we just talked about, Javier. Tonight's Drew and Cody segments, we'll get into Cody in a minute, and comparing that to I wanted to say Phil, because everyone's calling CM Punk Phil right now, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Derek Mitchell said, I've said it before, Drew has all the tools, but doesn't have the gravitas that Roman, Punk, or Cody have. I agree with that. I think Drew has it. I don't think he's been presented and framed in a context that validates that, I guess would be a way to put it. Not long ago we were saying always a bridesmaid, never the bride when it comes to chasing the title but not really winning it, or being a champ but not the top champ. And in a way that's happening again, or at least they were trying to have that happen Monday, and I think they, to a degree, succeeded. But do you think, Javier, that Derek is right, that Drew lacks gravitas, or is it just the context in which this excellent Drew character is being presented is still something less than what Roman and Punk are given?
No, he's presented gravitas when he was champion as much as you can when you're in front of a screen, screens instead of a crowd. The thing is, I think he's playing right now the champion that complains a lot. That the world's out to get him. It's hard to really be framed in that respect, and then also make a lot of excuses for his failures as opposed to owning up. I felt like he showed more of it today. Just based on the content of what he was talking about, because
showed more of what? Showed more of what? Sorry.
More gravitas in
Gotcha.
in concept of what we're talking about, because he still went in for the complaining and stuff, but because the way I define the way I look at really gravitas is this the guy I'm going to am I like lay my life down for this guy? Is this the guy who's going to lead me to war? And Drew has done that in the past. Right now, he's not playing that character. He's playing, someone who's, a whiny, self-aggrandizing to some extent. He's not someone I'm really ready to, to fight for, even if I don't agree with his methods. But that's why I said that the speech that he gave was a little bit more babyface in that respect. That like if I'm a wrestler in that locker room, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, yeah, they did. He's right. He may be a prick, but he's right. And there was more of that, at this point than there's been, in the recent past. But I think that's part of the character.
And part of the character is being a heel, like, showing ass, as they say, and retreating from a fight and that kind of thing. And that is part of what he's doing. Yeah, we'll get into that. So another comment here. Goodfella says, implied embarrassing the brand that a lot of people work for it to be good is a good barb from Drew, but he needed another one or two impactful lines. What line stood out to you, Javier? Because I brought up, I thought Fragile Phil, was a damning line right along the lines of what he did when he was feuding with him. It wasn't like a one-liner, but it was, the context, which is without your Samoan army, I would have destroyed you, Roman Reigns. He said, if the man makes the title, this man has been through hell to get this title.
Yeah, he talked about his history about, for me, the one I was, because it always resonates with me, is his history of being the one who carried the company during the crowdless period and never really got to celebrate the title win. And because he's drawing from must be real life frustrations where when they finally get the crowd, he lost to Lashley. I'm still sore about that. It's been how many years? So him talking about how framing it because both during the Punk and Roman Reigns one, they started measuring it by saying you had Punk say, you may have had it the longest reign, but it's what you do with it, which I also felt was kind of false because he did a lot. He made the title feel important during that period. But he says what you do with it. I'm a better champion. I did better stuff with the title belt than what you did. And then Drew's also answering that from his from across the week by saying that I made it important.
Javier, I just lost your audio connection. Chat, confirm that it's for everybody and not just me. Start making weird noises. Chat, just jump in and make sure that you couldn't understand his final words either. Anybody in the chat right now. Thanks for nothing, chat. Nobody's saying anything. You're sounding like a chipmunk. Alvin and the Chipmunks. There we are. Thanks, Derek. Goodfellas says, yes, the sound is weird. So something's going on. I'll read another comment here as Javier unplugs and plugs in stuff because that's how I fix everything. And I'll mute him in the meantime. That's wild. All right, let's see. Sadler version 3 says, my problem with Drew's promo is he defended the title more than he defended himself. I don't think the Punk and Roman dissed the WWE title. They dissed him. I'd like it more if those guys... I'd like his promo tonight more if those guys had dissed his title. I think he was replying to CM Punk, who said that the man makes the title. And so Drew was replying to that. But I think he addressed beating up Punk. I think he addressed in their last match, he addressed that he thinks he would have beat Roman Reigns without Roman having his Samoan army, I think is what he called it. So I don't know. I mean, I thought he addressed them too. And so I don't know. What do you think of that criticism, Javier, from Sadler? Does that land at all?
Well, I think, how did that sound?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
won't
think,
hold on, Javier. You sound like you normally do. I'll just say that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I never sound
good. Good could be overstating or understating it. I don't want to specify.
I think he because they weren't just, he is the champion, and the question was whether he was, because it was implied by Punk that Drew's the weaker champion. So by saying that this, they did talk about the championship, so it makes sense that they would defend the championship because he's holding. He's what Drew's saying is I'm holding the more important belt, and since I'm holding the more important belt, I'm the more important champion. I'm the one you should be going for. So I think that's more like what his angle there was than anything else.
All right, another comment in the chat here. Darrell Freeman says, yes, his promo didn't feel like main event. It didn't give off that aura farming that he said the other two guys gave off, and didn't even match up to Cody. I want to save the Cody discussion for later, but so far, I mean, some pushback on my framing that I thought Drew delivered tonight. I thought he came across like he was fired up and ready to go and ready to counter what they were saying. Darrell adds, though, he did. Yes, he had everything. It just he is missing it. And yes, Wade may think he had it, but after getting beat up twice, he didn't feel or sound like he was a top guy. He didn't land a lick. Well, let's keep in mind, Drew's job is to get booed, not cheered. I'm cheering him because I think he gave an effective retort to Roman and Punk. I thought he came out fired up and firing and had some good lines and carried himself like he wasn't staggered by being the attempts to diminish him on Monday. Although I don't think it was malicious on the part of Punk and Reigns. And in fact, I think Punk came to Reigns' defense because, you want to act like Punk came to Drew's defense against Reigns at one point. So I don't think it was intentional, but he certainly seemed like by the end of that segment, like, oh, okay, we know what the biggest match at WrestleMania is and we know who the two biggest stars in WWE are. I thought Drew carried himself well, but he's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to at the end of the show, unless you're kind of stepping back from the emotions they're going for and you're evaluating it, which is what this show does. You're not supposed to like him. He is a heel. He should run. He was jumped from Cody when Drew was just looking to talk. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with him doing what a heel should do, which is put over the babyface. Javier, how about you?
Yeah, this is more. I think this was actually more damage control from Monday because I think that it was such a. They raised the bar a lot on Monday, so they had to at least address that. But it's really hard to address it when he doesn't have a specific opponent yet. He's waiting. He's so by mentioning it, and they kept it busy because they mentioned him. He had to cross path with Trick. So it's not, and like you said, Wade, it's not because when after he finished all that and he was walking out, my first concern was like, if they push this too hard, this is going to start feeling more like a Raw versus SmackDown setup.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want that because you're not going to have Drew. Drew's not wrestling Cody. He is wrestling Cody. He's not likely. He's not wrestling CM Punk and Drew and Roman. Why can I not get names right? Drew and Roman, and he's not wrestling Punk. So it's fine for him to take some shots, but you don't also want to sell it to the point where you now want to see him involved in that match with those three, because then it seems like you're robbing what his actual match is going to be.
Absolutely. Derek Hubbard says, I thought both Drew and Cody did great with their respective rebuttals. Internal competition between higher card wrestlers is going to bring out the best in the product. I agree, and it is fun. I mean, it is to a degree legit competition between different. I won't say warring factions behind the scenes, but different pods of people who are looking out for each other. So yeah, Derek adds, if given the chance, Drew could have the Triple H 2000 run, the heel champ who should not have to cheat, cut corners, and tuck tail, but he does anyway. That's where the heat is. And Goodfella says, good call. Petty Drew was missing tonight. Sadler Vision 3 said, yeah, I didn't mind Drew running away and being heelish. I just wanted the petty heel Drew during his promo. He sounded babyface-ish when defending the title. Yeah, what you don't want, Javier, is what you said, though, is you don't want this to feel like, well, we're heading towards, a title unification match. You don't want to. And I don't think Roman had to bring Drew up, or the cloud of Drew would be hanging over him if he just came out and said, I want to fight Punk. Like, he had to, talk about the options, and the crowd kind of led the way. And of course, Roman and Punk want to make their case to be the night 2 closing match, which I think is the default position for Roman at this point. I mean, I think Roman's going to end night 2, whether he's facing Punk or Cody or anyone else. They perceive him as the top star right now. And they wanted to make their case. But yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the Cody aspect of this, because he was fired up at the start of the show. Well, Drew came out because he was going to celebrate his win, and then Cody attacked him and cut as fired up a promo as I remember Cody cutting. I'm not saying he hasn't reached that level before, but I don't think he's ever topped that level of intensity. He was because I think what he saw is, my understanding is, the Rumble Roman would have picked him if Cody kept the title, and Cody and Drew, made the case it would be better to not rehash that match. And so they watched the match that, as a result of Cody basically opting out, get heated up and praised for the last 4+ days, and they wanted to make their case. And Cody, I felt like, wanted to assert that this era's WrestleManias are his. Like, this is my era. People know what I mean to WrestleMania and what WrestleMania means to me. I think if I said that in reverse order. And yeah, I mean, just let people know he's not coasting to WrestleMania, and he's firing back this week. I don't know about the what measuring contest and then implying he would win. I'm not quite sure if that's what fans want to hear about or think about when it comes to a sport of fighting. So that was weird. But other than that, what do you think, Javier?
Yeah, I don't think he could have been hotter, because I think he was like approaching the red line a few times there. So yeah, what I actually liked about this is that he did what he does best, which is take you on a storyline journey. The whole story thing, because he cut, and he did it well, and he didn't lose himself with how far he was saying, talking about how he was born here. So he's basically starting like, I was born here, and now I come back here as I don't want to say loser, that's not the word he used, but as a loser without a title, back to his hometown, and and he took you on a journey. He took you on a storyline journey, despite him spitting out venom. And I think that's when he's at his best. It's dangerous because if people lose faith in him, then he just becomes like a bore. But when he's working and the crowd are with him, he's basically taking you on this. He's framing the story as for you. So, and that's when he's at his best, and that's what I've been complaining about with his most recent stuff, where he's basically been kind of like a guest star in somebody else's story. I've been talking about that a lot, and I think he referenced that in a couple weeks ago where he did that promo where he talks about that. If things have been too episodic, was something along those lines. I think that's what he's referring to, where it's not been his story. He's not been taking you on the journey. It's been involving other people, but he's at his strongest, and he basically framed what, and I think this is the first time he's really framed it this way, what having lost that title really means. You mentioned a lot that you want to get the feel of like why when a champion loses title, what losing the title means to them, and they tend not to do that because I know they don't want to dwell on the loss. They want to move on to the next thing. But we got that from him, and how important losing the title was. What how that affected him, And
The agony of defeat is as important as the thrill of victory
Yeah.
when you're telling stories about wins and losses.
Yeah, so that helped. I think it put him on the right track because I felt like he had been veering off for quite a bit for now over the last year. And I think I was really happy when it opened up. It's like, oh, this is the Cody that we were cheering on when it was him and when he was trying to finish the story with Roman Reigns.
Yes. Yep. So Derek Mitchell had the super chat up saying Cody and Roman and Punk are both glad. Cody said Roman and Punk are both glad he wasn't in the measuring contest because he didn't get the nickname Raheem for no reason. Either way, he always has an invite to the cookout. So that's the phrasing that we got there. I was going to add something about what you just said about Cody.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because I think that was also a little bit of part of the dealing with the how good the first one was. He is trying to take a little bit from that promo, saying that it was a good promo, but it was just like an ego measuring contest. Not to use the more grotesque, not grotesque because it's not grotesque, but you know what I mean. More gross. Gross. I don't even know if
it's gross. It's just maybe tawdry or not,
yeah. Well, but grotesque was definitely
to each your own. To each your own. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're going to get a call from HR. But yeah, so I think that was part of it to take some of the sting from what was said by saying that's just both their egos running out of control. Said by Cody, which is funny. But that's kind of I think part of why that was mentioned.
So Kyle Fassel says I had to Google the Raheem thing. I don't do social media and had no idea what he meant. Ha. And Kaz Tan, welcome to the chat, Kaz, says lame promo from Cody. Why should we care about his nickname Raheem? True or false? Just plain dumb. Kyle adds, I was taken aback by what he said at first and was so confused. Ha. Then Derek Hubbard says, as Javier is describing, this is Cody on the chase. That is where he is most effective. And Derek Mitchell says, compared to Tony Storm vulgarity, Cody's language was tame. There's something about Tony Storm delivering it. That's, there's some charm.
One thing I forgot about Drew, two things that he mentioned. He was petty a little bit because he did mention that, he had to fight. Everybody was against him. He did mention that. So he did,
the victim.
Yeah.
Woe is me thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing I loved was when he started listing the name of everybody. They said, not Dusty Rhodes. That little,
Yes.
little,
that was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, he talked about the great champions of the past, and for people who didn't see, and he's like Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, not Dusty Rhodes, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was like perfect, like just rubbing in that that he does not. Anyway, it was clever and fun. All right. Did I read this? Derek Hubbard says, as Javier is describing, this is Cody on the chase. That is where he is most effective. That's what Cody wanted. I mean, that's the argument he made the week before his SmackDown title loss to Drew. And as I reported, that decision was made, a day or two before SmackDown, I think two days before SmackDown, to switch the finish and go with it. And this is what Cody wanted. He wanted to be, on the chase. He wanted to cut this promo. The fact is Cody's got to step up, Javier. This is the shakeup of the WrestleMania plans are because he made a case. He didn't force anyone. He didn't use undue influence or power. He just was persuasive. And he didn't have, it wasn't his call. It was just his suggestion. But now he's got to deliver. It's like a player going, I want to be in the starting lineup, or I want to, whatever. You better be good if you do that. If you want more minutes, you better defend hard. You better play hard if you're in the NBA, whatever. So, yeah. Derek says, I could read between the lines on the Raheem name drop, but I don't fully understand the reference, and I'm afraid to look it up. Don't be afraid.
I was going to say something, but I lost it. Never mind. Go ahead. It'll come back.
Well, we're deep into the show, and I haven't really introduced you yet, Javier, so let's pause and do a quick introduction. This is the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show on Friday, February 6th, 2026. I'm Wade Keller, host of the show, editor, publisher, and founder of the Pro Wrestling Torch weekly newsletter. Here's this week's paper copy. Headline: Reigns and Liv Morgan win Royal Rumble matches. On the sidebar is the beginning of the multi-page roundtable reviews from the Torch staff, giving reviews and scores of the event. Then we got Greg Parks, who always anchors page 10, a must-read article every week. He does a great job with this for so many years. And this is him predicting the WrestleMania lineup based on what happened at the Royal Rumble. You can get the PDF and all-text version of the weekly newsletter with exclusive content you won't find anywhere else with a VIP membership. You can read the native format and PDF layout or just an all-text version, as I said, through the VIP website. As noted earlier, pwtorch.com/govip is how you get everything you want, everything you didn't know you wanted, but you won't miss out on all of our content when you go VIP, other than the commercial interruptions on our free shows, because those get edited out. So that's another nice perk. But we're here to talk SmackDown tonight on one of the podcasts I host. I also host the Raw post show and the Dynamite post show live on YouTube on the PWTorch YouTube channel. So search PWTorch on YouTube if you want to watch us live. On the podcast side of things, you can subscribe by searching Wade Keller in your podcast app and click on the blue logo show and the red logo show. And both of those are free to sign up for. When you go VIP, those just blend into the VIP podcast feed, which includes a lot of other exclusive content. But we're here talking SmackDown. And my guest co-host is Javier Machado, a longtime contributor to PWTorch. Javier, great to have you part of the show tonight. Welcome back to the co-host chair.
Thanks for having me, Wade.
How'd you do in your Royal Rumble predictions?
Oh, I got Roman Reigns. Well, I mean, I had a couple. I mean, it's 30 people. I choose a couple. Roman Reigns is one of the ones. I got right who they were going to go for. I felt that Punk was going to be the one who was going to be chosen because there was more. There were more bodies in on SmackDown to go for after Drew. So. This
is my newsletter cover story before the Royal Rumble, and I also picked Roman or Oba. So I did the same thing. I went for it's either going to be this guy or this guy. So it's one of those two. Rich Fan was right on Liv Morgan. I was not.
I forgot who I had for a woman.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair. But, that was had she been healthy. I thought that would have been a true one.
That was my pick too. So, well, good to have you. We got a lot more to talk about as we continue the show here. If you're watching us live on the PWTorch YouTube channel, you can join us in the chat. You've seen us put up chat quotes, chat comments throughout the show so far. We'll continue to do that. And you can also email us, wadekellerpostshow@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on the podcast side of things and you can't be part of the chat, but you want to be part of the show, that's the way to do it. Just email wadekellerpostshow@gmail.com. And then you can also be a caller. We got Crofton standing by to join us as a caller this week again. You can find the link to be a video or audio only caller. You're welcome to turn off your camera if you just want to be audio only, like our many years on Blog Talk Radio taking calls. Just look for the link in my TV report during Raw, Dynamite, or tonight, SmackDown. The link changes every time. So you got to go to my TV report on PWTorch website to find it. So yeah, a lot more to talk about. More fallout from the Rumble. Sami Zayn absorbing his loss. We'll get into that. And the Chamber qualifying match developments, the entertaining, but man, do I have something to say about the whole toxic masculinity gimmick. There's such eye-rollingly insecure macho men out there who need to demean anybody who thinks that the stereotypical manly way to live is something that they're going to use their platform to mock and demean. They're such snowflakes. They're so fragile out there. Anyway, let's just bring Crofton into the show and see what he wants to say as we continue to weave our way through SmackDown. Crofton, welcome. Good to see you and hear from you again.
Hi, thanks, Wade, and hi, Javier. Nice to meet you. And Wade, I take it then you must moisturize. Because I was laughing. I understand where you're coming from. I was laughing. I thought Kit Wilson must be getting some advice from The Miz backstage about how to set somebody up. Because when Obafemi came out, just everyone was standing up waiting to see who was going to come out. I thought he did a great job.
He did a great job. The definition of toxic masculinity in the Oxford Dictionary is a set of attitudes and ways of behaving stereotypically associated with or expected of men, regarded as having a negative impact on men and on society as a whole. So this whole thing is a bunch of old school women have women's places in the kitchen attitudes and men's places in the gym, and listen to your man, as Action Andretti once said, and then never got pushed again on AWTV. And or paraphrasing, but pretty close. They're trying to make fun of like men who don't fit this very narrow stereotype, and they're basically kicking sand on the skinny kid at the beach who maybe is into theater or music or art, as opposed to lifting weights and being muscular. It's just they're just such snowflakes. They got people are threatening our toxic our masculinity trend on social media. So we're going to say they're calling us toxic. So now we have to create a character on WWE TV to make fun of it. There's a long history of WWE doing this. Usually it's been reserved for the Vince McMahon era, but I'm going to call it for what it is. And it's just so embarrassing and shallow of Paul Levesque and his crew. But it's fun and entertaining. I just want to call it what it is.
No, fair. Yeah. If you hadn't made the Vince connection, I was going to as well. Just a question to you guys. Like, it's been a really interesting week that the promo battle that they spent almost all of SmackDown acknowledging in various segments between Roman and CM Punk was like riveting. It was great. Mm-hmm. You guys made some good points about the amount of time they've, I think, spent on it already. Drew spent most of his promo. I like that Trick Williams called him out on that, talking about CM Punk and Roman Reigns. But I just wanted to ask actually about something else, which is something that Wade Barrett kept talking about, which I thought was great, which is that champions don't necessarily keep their belts from the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. And while I love the fact that they've set up CM Punk and Roman Reigns, it also dilutes all suspense from the next few months. Like in no way do I think Finn Balor or whomever is going to take CM Punk's title away from him. I believe that they are heading to that match and they've invested in that match. So when Liv Morgan came out on SmackDown this week and was,
in fact,
yes, tonight. Sorry, tonight, earlier, moments ago,
or this month, this year.
Yes,
as Liz said this year. Sorry,
in 2026. So I was almost rolling my eyes because I thought to myself, "Oh man, she's going to declare as well," and then same effect all over again. So I was actually super relieved when the segment went sideways. How do you feel about with the Royal Rumble leading to being able to call your shot at WrestleMania, this idea that it drains all suspense out of the next 3 months? Do you think champions should be calling their challengers should be calling their shots early, or do you think that Royal Rumble winners should be kind of like dragging it out until it makes sense?
I will say that I think with the double title, the two men's world titles, the two women's singles world titles, declaring two of them pretty quickly and then moving on to the Elimination Chamber for everybody else creates some clarity early on. One, there's a match they can establish up front. It's helpful when Roman Reigns is going to be around every week. So you just establish it, and then, and then Punk gets sidetracked or something else for a while. But it also, when you're looking at the Elimination Chamber qualifiers, the people who are in it can talk about who they want to face. So now that Roman has picked Punk, then that frees up everybody in the men's chamber qualifier to now focus on Drew. So at least I think there's still suspense involved here. So I'm okay with how it's going. Javier, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you could either build it as suspense, or you could build it as you know where you're going, and it's the journey, not the destination. So it really depends on the kind of story you're gonna tell. With Roman Reigns, he's gonna be the top guy anyway, so that's fine. With the Liv Morgan, I think they're just buying more time just so they don't have to start setting whatever she's going to do. Like, let's say she's probably going to choose, I'm assuming she's probably going to choose Vaquer. They probably want to delay that so they have less interaction. They have less to they don't have to think up as much stuff in the time that we have between now and WrestleMania. I think that's mainly it, because it's going to be probably the third or fourth most interesting match of the four big ones. So I think that might be the thinking with that one.
Who do you think Jade is going to be taking on if she is still champion at WrestleMania?
Javier, who's your pick?
Bianca Belair. I don't know. It's the one that kind of makes the most sense to me. I don't know. Do you go back to Tiffany, Charlotte? They've crossed paths a few times, although they haven't lately. So maybe they've changed ideas. But I'd probably go. Yeah. So I mean, right now I don't have a strong feel.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feel either. I was thinking that either Bianca or Charlotte would win the Rumble, and whichever those two won would challenge Jade. Got a long road ahead. Now it seems like Charlotte and Alexa are going to be linked together long enough. I was thinking maybe they do that they are in a tag team match at that point. But WrestleMania is far enough away, and although they'll have to have the Chamber qualifier and then the Chamber match. If Charlotte wins, that will obviously derail the thought of Charlotte and Alexa being a tag team at WrestleMania. But if they go a different direction than Charlotte Jade and they keep Alexa and Charlotte together, I get it because it's been a successful gimmick. A little uneven at times, obviously, but I think it's worked out for both well. It's worked out well for both of them. Crofton, as you asked that, do you have names in mind?
I'm just surprised, like they've gone full tilt on the tag team division for the women and put some of their biggest stars in that division. And I just, looking at some of the matches tonight, and I thought the Tiffany Lash legend, who was the third in that match, Chelsea. I thought that there was a fair share of like. It didn't look great all the time. These are some people still have some level of being green and no pun intended on Chelsea there. But I just don't like the people that I would pick for a money drawing main event at WrestleMania are in the tag team division right now. Like a Rhea Ripley, for instance, she's like their biggest female star. And I struggle to understand what they're doing with her sometimes. So somebody like that, but I don't think I guess I just feel like Jade has been spinning her wheels and that there isn't if Bianca comes back, great. There's a ready baked story, history, all of that there. But if she doesn't, it feels like they'll have to set the table from ground zero, which is not unheard of, but it just shows that one of the top two women's titles does not have a really great story ready to go. And that's a bit of a bummer heading into WrestleMania season. I'd argue that Vicaire is the same. Like they're building something from, at least Liv has momentum. And I think that will lead to something good there. So I'm less concerned. But on the SmackDown side of things, it looks rough right now.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the women are in tag teams, and that has been a way to, freshen up the singles ranks and make it seem fresh when Rhea or Charlotte or whomever goes back into the singles realm. I mean, I'm not ruling out that Jade's not defending against 5 other people or 3 other people at WrestleMania, and they find some, convoluted, almost by definition, reason that there won't be a single Elimination Chamber winner. But they'll throw a bunch of people in there because there just isn't that clear-cut opponent unless Bianca Belair announces her return in one of the qualifying matches. Or she could be added as a third person due to some storyline reason once she's healthy, and she just wasn't healthy enough and cleared in time for the qualifiers, and they use that as an excuse to add her to the match. Next week's qualifier is Bliss, Julia, and Zelina Vega. We know Zelina's not winning. I think so. We'll see how that plays out. A couple chat comments here, Crofton, on this topic. One, Kyle Fassel said Chelsea needs to be champ. The crowd wants it. Kyle also says Rhea. I expected Rhea to be in the main event scene for Mania. And then Kaz Tan says, yeah, it's crazy how Rhea's their top star on the women's side and she's not in the world title picture. Who's booking this stuff? I mean, I think what they've been doing with Rhea and Io is good. I mean, I would be booking Rhea as my centerpiece champ, but I don't think it's like, a derelict of duty to push Rhea in the way that they are that is different than the centerpiece star. I would push her as a centerpiece star that they're choosing not to, but I think they've been doing good stuff with her, creating kind of an ensemble depth. Derek Mitchell says, I think Raquel will win the title from Vicaire, and then Liv will choose Raquel at Mania, and then it will be Jade against Bianca at Mania. And, the way they want to tell the story, that might explain why Rhea wasn't in the Rumble. I haven't heard a definitive health update on her, but maybe she's ready and they just didn't want her to be eliminated in the Rumble. They wanted to tell the story the way that they're telling it, and they've got a way to get her in it otherwise. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Oh, and Goodfella says Tiff looked out of place to me a few times. So yeah. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Rhea Ripley and Io probably going to be going up against the Bella Twins.
Are they portraying the Bellas as baby faces or heels?
I think they're supposed to be heels, but I mean,
they were. That's what I assumed, but others thought they were trying to be babyface themselves on Monday on Raw. That they're trying to. I know. I think the fans are going to choose. They're going to be heels, but they're going to get the JD Vance Olympics reception, no matter what they try to do. Kaztan says WWE Unreal possibly made Chelsea a sympathetic babyface that everyone could get behind after Michael Hayes' comments. Maybe this was done by design. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but Hayes was just talking like people talk backstage, and it's, you don't always want to hear what the coach has to say about your favorite players and why they get their minutes. You just want to root for your team. But that's one of the bad sides about WWE Unreal is, you kind of, as they say, see how the sausage is made. Choices are made, decisions are made, and things are put bluntly, and Hayes put it that way. But I don't think it gained, I don't know. Maybe on social media gained enough traction. Chelsea was already a babyface with so many people anyway. I don't think you needed Michael Hayes to turn her. I just don't think they see her as a top act. But if Chelsea wants to be, I think the fans would embrace it if they did. Javier, not to get too sidetracked, but what do you think about Chelsea getting a more serious top-tier push?
No, I mean, you now have the mid card titles. That's perfectly fine. I mean, you could do it if you have nobody at the top and you want to have like a feel good story, and kind of like what they were doing with Otis when he had the Money in the Bank, and there was a little bit of steam behind it. It would have been fine for him to have it, but I think so many things have to go wrong for you to get to that point that I'd rather not think about it.
Derek Mitchell says, Javier, please don't talk that into existence. I hope we don't get the Bellas against Rhea and Io at Mania. It'd be such a waste. Derek says, I predict a multi-team TLC match for the women's tag belts. So there we go.
And Javier, I have to jump in. As a Canadian myself, Chelsea, I have to come to her defense, because for me, like, she has all the tools. She owns the ring. She does the little things, like today when she was standing at the ropes and she just did this little hand wave to Lash Legend, like just off the side. It was just a little touch that shows to me that she has all the pieces. I mean, if they gave her the ball in any way, she would make, like as he said on the show, that she makes the most of her minutes. Give her more minutes, she'll make more out of those. Don't get me wrong. I love her.
Okay. I love her. I love seeing her on TV. When she was passing out the newsletter that she was passing out in the back, and the way that she reacts to what she's saying, and like, you could almost see her thinking, and she's a great actress when she does that. She's it's just that right now you have a lot of strong, like, fighting, for over the titles and they're coming up. And I think that one of the reasons that you're seeing a lot of people paired up as tag teams right now, which I think is great, is they're putting people together that aren't like perfect on their own. So that, what could cover for the weaknesses the other have. Io has, doesn't speak the language, so you pair up with Rhea, who has command. She's the commands when it's promo time. Then you have Charlotte being rehabilitated by her attachment to Bliss. Lyra works very well playing off of Bailey, and Lyra had been an issue. So I'm really high on the women's division, because they're making a lot of these pairings and the individual people involved feel a lot more important. So they're building up their equity basically, so that at some point you do want to see, when you see them, they're worth more when they're actually going on a solo trip. So they're able to play against play off of each other. The partners are, so as long as we keep those all 8 showing up at one time and yelling at each other, which they do it a lot with the women. They also do it a lot with the tag teams too. So that's like a double whammy there. As long as they keep that away, I'm really hyped for that for all that. And what I was saying about Chelsea was just that because of that, I think she's fun, but I think what they did with Maxine, they just did with Maxine, so it would have been like fun to have seen Green go through that.
There's a lot of love in the chat, Crofton. You'll be happy for Chelsea. I threw them on the screen. I'll read them for our podcast listeners. Al Larcher said Green will get her run in the next 2 years in the down period of the year post-Mania. Goodfella says Chelsea, while not the best, goes hard AF in the ring, and I love her. Powder River Pete says, I adore Green. She gets it. Derek Mitchell says Chelsea Green has been such an MVP in the women's division. So much with the division, with so much. She does so much with the time she's given. There we are. Derek Hubbard says, I agree with Michael Hayes. Chelsea's not meant to be taken seriously. I think the appeal of her character is that she is not serious. Chelsea is a great appetizer or side dish, but not the entree. And then Kaztan says, I'm with Crofton on Chelsea. She has the best personality and acting ability of all the women on the roster. Doesn't matter who she's on screen with. She steals the spotlight. Joe Schmo says, I see Chelsea as more of a Money in the Bank winner. So there we are. Chelsea's valuable, but maybe some of that goes away if she seems like she's the chosen one to get a serious push. Maybe part of the appeal is feeling like management doesn't have her back the way they should. All right, Crofton, what else? Or go ahead. Oh, sorry, Javier, jump in. Yep.
I go way back with Chelsea too, since she was left at the altar and she was wrestling in the wedding dress that she never came out in TNA. That was so long term fan for her.
I could go on about Chelsea, and I will not. I'm refraining from doing it because I have a whole fantasy booking in my brain for what she could do at WrestleMania with Jade. But my question actually is more about this 3-hour episode of SmackDown. When watching it, I noticed how many people seem stone cold, not Steve Austin, but like just cold in terms of their story, of momentum. I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but like they brought out the Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxium, and Johnny Gargano's lying on a box, and then at another time, like Ray Phoenix is giving comatose Sami Zayn a talk, and then like Damian Priest and R-Truth are watching a show. And he has his little standoff Damian Priest does with Drew McIntyre as if to be like, hey, I'm in this as well, but I'm going to stand to the side. And then Aleister Black is in the main event, but I feel like he's been kind of spinning his wheels. Shinsuke Nakamura had a match against Tama Tonga. I found that I know that they're probably doing something with Tama, but Shinsuke in particular, like, has got Gunther's going to end my career written all over him. And so it just feels like, I don't know, I throughout this show, I get that they're filling minutes. I get there's more people that are getting opportunities, but I just got like the differential between the hot segments and the stars that were over and the ones that were perhaps more struggling to get over felt really stark to me tonight. And I'm curious if I'm the only one. Wade, you've watched a lot of this. It might always be like this, and it just jumped out more at me tonight, but I would welcome both of your thoughts.
Well, the Attitude Era is back then. I mean, there was a big discrepancy between the top stars and the filler afterwards, and that was something Russo and Ferrara took pride in, that they gave attention to the filler segments, and it endeared them to wrestlers who gave them the time of day because other top wrestlers didn't want to at that time. So they fought for TV time for them, but they weren't as over. There's a big discrepancy, and there was going to be with Stone Cold and Brett and The Rock and DX and Sable and on and on. I'm not bothered. I mean, I'm not bothered, but I think the backstage stuff is brief enough. Nakamura and Tonga didn't feel like that. If they were worried about minute by minute numbers in a head-to-head battle, speaking of the Monday Night War era, that match wouldn't have been on TV. I mean, so there is some of that, but I'm largely okay with it. I mean, we have gone from a 2-hour format to a 3-hour format, and by definition, there's going to be some matches that go a little longer than we're used to, and a little bit more TV time for people who might not get it. But I was okay with the content and pacing this week. Javier, how about you?
Yeah, I mean the Tama one, now that I think about it, I might have missed last SmackDown, but the Tama one was interesting because they've been like, it seems like they've been trying to do something with Tama for a while, and then you had all these little moments between him and Shinsuke, and then you have this match, and this match was like not super, great.
It was fine.
Shinsuke, yeah, but I'm saying not what, like, because that's the thing, because I'm thinking like on the meta with them, because they first start talking about around the time of Tanahashi's retirement, and and there had been all those rumors, the attempt, rumors of the attempts of Shinsuke wrestling Tanahashi at the end, and so them crossing paths was, I think, intended to bring up their New Japan history. So and they would speak Japanese to each other, and it was creating like a sense of intrigue to what was going on. To then have this match, and I mean, it looks like it's going to go further because there was interference in the middle. They're telling a story of Shinsuke. Is Shinsuke no longer the strong style king? So there's something there that they're trying to tell there, but I don't know what it is. And then also the thing with AJ Styles also, because he was former New Japan. So there almost seems to be like a New Japan adjacent storyline happening right now with them.
Yeah.
But they're not saying exactly what it is. So I'm and there's some people who are like pulling for Shinsuke after his match with AJ Styles. That, they're saying maybe he could have one last good run. And just what they've done, I think that might be what they're doing. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Sadler goes, I don't even know what the Gargano character is. Is he depressed because he lost Axiom's mask? Powder Repeat said, Johnny's depressed that Ciampa left. Goodfella says, Gargano said, hello, darkness, my old friend, on his socials after that segment. Kyle Fassel says the Gargano segment was rough, and I like all those guys. I don't know. I mean, I think you're muted, Crofton, unless you're just mouthing words waiting for me to...
I was totally muted.
Okay,
sorry,
go ahead.
I don't have a big light that flashes to tell me. But I will say that in terms of like this, I didn't mean to sound like, oh, I don't like backstage segments, or I found that this show was like poorly paced or anything like that. What I meant was that it feels like, as I was exposed to these characters, I was like, man, a lot of these guys don't have either an active story going on or any sort of momentum right now, and feel cold. Like sometimes, like Damian Priest has felt hot sometimes. Today was not one of those times. It just I don't know. I felt like it was like, oh, this guy's cold. This guy's cold. Like it that was the recurring feeling I got tonight. And it's just weird because we're coming out of the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania season. It's a big show. They're looking to fill it with hot acts, obviously, and it's not like there's irreparable damage that's been done to a lot of these folks. I just felt tonight that a lot of the wrestlers that were on screen were spinning their wheels, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't push back hard on that, but I mean, they were short enough and little breaks in the matches. JC Scooby said it's a 3-hour show. They need more backstage segments to break up wrestling in the ring. The key is what do you do with that little bit of time you're given? Well, in this case, you're just being kind of told what to do. The window into what's going on backstage, I think, is a concept I like. I wish they filmed it differently. I wish that they went backstage to Johnny Gargano lying on a crate and Candice LeRae fretting over it, and then Fraxium and Shelley and Sabin walk up. That's believable. There's a news. I think of it through the journalistic lens. Backstage, there should be a journalist searching. There should be a vibe of journalists searching for a story. Backstage correspondent searching for a story, and you cut backstage when there's something interesting happening, and then the tag teams walk up on them. I don't like the framing of it being we're filming two tag teams for absolutely no reason, chatting about nothing of interest, but we decided that's worth your time. And oh, what a coincidence. There's Johnny Gargano, and it can turn into an interesting segment. I think it's super easy to flip that around, and it's just a rut they're in. And I think the presentation would then feel more organic, and you would feel there'd be this presupposition of privilege as a viewer that you get to see something going on backstage that someone has deemed newsworthy, instead of presenting it like this is a scripted show and we're about to show you something that wouldn't make TV except for the fact that we have pre-planned what's about to happen next. So I think that takes away some of it, because it just feels like Disney Channel school hallway chats that are filmed for some poorly scripted show aimed at tweeners. And I think they should strive to be better than that.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anything else, Crofton?
No, I'll leave it there. But thanks so much for all you do. Love listening. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Great having you join on the show again.
Cheers.
You bet. Couple times a Canadian accent came out in Crofton. There's a couple times I was like, oh yeah, that's Canada. I'm sure it happens to me all the time with Minnesota stuff. We're not quite as Fargo portrays us, but all right.
Once in a while it slips.
What does?
Once in a while it slips.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it slips. We're just I don't know. Slips is a word. It shows up. Slips implies I'm trying to hide it. I don't even know what it is. I'm around it all the time, and I don't know what's Minnesotan about me until people point it out. I just talk like everybody around me talks. Anyway, let's see. Kyle Fassel says, good shout, Crofton. I heard the Canada accent too. And then JC Scooby says, Kathy Kelly should have tried to interview Johnny lying on the crate. That would have been better. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting a lot more of that. That seems like a setup for a long-term character of him being like depressed and stuff and mopey.
Yeah, the problem is you're doing it with Sammy too, and it can kind of undercut a more serious story with Sammy if you do that. Derek says Gargano was lying on the crate with the black and gold NXT sticker on it. Nice little touch. Kyle Fassel said, I'd love more cinematic feeling stuff than just basic backstage stuff. They were on a good track with Fatu Cody a few weeks back, and also Drew at his house a month ago. Yeah, I mean, that takes extra work, and I don't think they're against it, but sometimes they just take up for things that aren't super important. They're just, little filler things to plant seeds or move mid-card stuff forward. They're not going to put a bunch of production time into it. And you might want to save the cinematic stuff for the main eventers, things that really matter. Speaking of Sammy, what'd you think of Sammy hanging his head, just looking forlorn, doesn't know what's next? So Javier, what'd you think of the follow-up with him, and where do you think it's going?
I mean, you're like almost at the point where he kind of has to turn heel. How he, particularly how he was acting and kind of separated from dissociated from everyone around him. I'm assuming he's going to get another shot now at the Elimination Chamber. Probably might not even make it to the match. That kind of screams to me that he's gonna he's gonna snap maybe. Because I'm fine with the idea if you're going to beat him down and then he builds himself up. But if you're not setting that up for WrestleMania and where we're all wrong and the actual Drew match is going to be him and Sammy, it's interesting to see where it's going. I mean, what's KO's condition right now? That's one of the things I'm thinking about.
Good one.
Even if he can't come in, even if he can't wrestle, him showing up to to motivate him or something, that's something along those lines.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he needs something, Sammy needs something because, I don't think there's I don't think it was by accident that he basically got squashed at Royal Rumble. There's a story there, and I mean, granted, it's going to be going through. It's obviously going to be going through Trick Williams. So they've been crossing paths a lot, but I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out because because if Trick beats him, then that's Sam's got to go psycho, but I don't know how much it means for him for Sammy to beat Trick, since Trick is technically a rookie, so weird.
Speaking of Trick, briefly, what do you think of Trick and Drew crossing paths? Because Trick's a new heel. Drew is a top heel who you're expected to boo against, Cody and Jacob Fatu, two baby faces. Should you be, is it worth it to have Drew and Trick crossing paths so you have this moment of, I got to take sides here and decide who I like better?
If it's just a momentary thing so you could think about, hey, maybe someday in the future, if we see them cross paths, because for one thing, I do like the fact that that Trick is crossing paths with just about everybody because that's getting his name out there and making him seem important because he's crossing, all these people. I doubt that they're going to cross paths again. unless their plan, because I mean, the only way that'll happen is if one of the two of them is going to turn babyface. I don't think that's happening.
Right.
So I think this is just a case of like, unless it's a situation where Trick becomes like a mentee for Drew, which again I doubt, because Drew right now kind of feels like it more works as a solo act. So I doubt all that. I think this is just to have rub off some of him, that Trick has his eye on the title, because Drew's the champion. So
yeah,
and Drew's saying you're not ready for this, boy.
Yeah, I think that's the spirit of what's happening here. Derek says, I love Trick interacting with the main event stars on SmackDown, like Cody, Randy, Sammy, and Drew, and holding his own. And if it was just Drew, it'd be more peculiar. It's just Trick just scouting everybody and interacting with everybody. So I don't think a ton of harm done. I'd just be careful about that. When you have somebody who's new and you're trying to get fans to boo him, don't put him against a guy who, is a firmly established heel, unless it's part of many people he's crossing paths with, and it's pretty brief, and that's what this was. Powder Repeat said the fans would make Trick the face in a Drew versus Trick feud, I think. Yeah, I think so too. Okay. Couple other Sammy notes. Kyle Fassel says, the whole thing with Sammy makes me feel like I wish they'd put the title on him 2 years ago against Roman. I don't see him ever reaching that peak again. But they were too obsessed with Roman beating that title reign record back then. Kyle says, I already covered that. Derek says, Sammy in the qualifying match against Cody and Jacob next week on Sci-Fi. By the way, SmackDown moving from USA to Sci-Fi the next 2 weeks because of Olympic coverage on NBC Universal channels. So, so I mean, Sammy with Cody and Jacob that's a big name 3-way triple threat match next week, Javier, to qualify. It's crazy only one of them is going to be in the chamber. It seems like all three, you could have made a case, should be in the chamber. What do you think is going to happen there?
That's interesting. I mean, might this be a way to get Cody and Jacob out of the chamber? Because Sami Zayn goes nuts and because it's a 3-way, so everything is there are no rules in a 3-way. Remember, he hits everybody with a chair and then ends up winning that way. Yeah. If he flips out, more likely, this might end up being what turns them, if they're going to turn Sami Zayn heel, at least for a bit, if it's Cody that pins him, because that would be, they've been portrayed as friends and on the same side for a long time, and Cody pinning Sami to ruin his chance at WrestleMania and another shot at Drew might be what makes Sami snap.
Sammy Sadler in the chat says, Sammy wins, Drew screws the others over. Goodfellas says, Sammy be bold, Cody be safe, Jacob not ready, in my opinion. Derek Mitchell says, I think Cody or Jacob win with the chamber, and the other person will be added like Rhea last year, joining Io and Bianca in the title match. They could certainly go that direction. In the tag match, just change of topics here. Liv Morgan and Raquel against Jade Cargill and Jordan Grace. Kind of Nick Aldis putting Jade and Jordan together as a team. Didn't seem super fair, but they came out on top and they won. I do have a challenge for pro wrestling. Well, firstly, I'd like to reset the security-o-meter. Security guards got beat up this week. It had been a few weeks since that had happened on TV. Was it Jacob Fatu who did it? After beating up Drew, he beat up all the security guys.
Yeah.
He tossed him around.
They also got bumped. They also got kind of jostled and with Cody too. So they've had a long week. Yeah, felt like more. I don't know if that was enough to reset the. I'd have to rewatch. Maybe I needed to reset it earlier in the show, but I was sad to see that. But I mean, there's a time. I don't know. I was gonna say there's a time to beat up security. Just don't do it as often. That's kind of my case for argument for the use of the word bitch. It just, once it's overdone, it loses its punch if everyone's using it as a crutch. Great use today.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure there's ever good reason to beat up security without there being ramifications. I just don't think, especially baby faces, but you should be suspended for beating up hourly wage workers trying to do their job. I mean, why? Anyway, I've made that clear. The moment that I'd like them to clean up here, though, in this match, and you can't do it in the match itself, is when Jade accidentally kicked Jordan, and it was a misfire, and Raquel laughed at it. And I'm like, what are the odds? Two people who are rivals are put in a tag team, and there's a completely accidental, clearly accidental misfire, and it always happens. All I ask of wrestling bookers, promoters, match producers is every 2 months, have a misfire in a regular tag match with regular tag partners and have them just brush it off because they're friends and they know better. But it would make it feel like that happens. So then when it happened in a match where two people aren't getting along, it'll mean more when they're suspicious of each other. But it feels like a predictable scripted trope when it always happens between people that you're expecting to have an issue with each other who are teaming. Incorporate it into a match every now and then, 4 or 5 times a year on TV, and just don't treat it like a big deal, but have it be kind of part of the lore of how wrestling matches go. Javier?
Yeah, I think it happened not too long ago. I think was it the Usos that they might have when they first got back together that they had a little bit of a mishap, and I believe we talked about it saying, hey, that's nice. They didn't break up over that.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
But that still is working into the story because it's like, can they trust each other? You're still creating that level of intrigue. It would be. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about Young Bucks matches. But their reasons because they're reckless, so they end up hitting each other a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think that more tag teams should have mistakes like that when outside of the guy rolls off the person and you land on him. Where to more of a babyface getting over on the heel kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot more super kicks that don't lead into anything should be pretty much do it once every match. That's for a while.
Well, I don't know. I might be against that, Javier. Let's see what else. What do you think of how Aleister Black is doing? He was in this triple threat match. Is he just kind of an afterthought? Should they be doing something more with him, or at least protecting him till they have creative space, maybe after WrestleMania?
I think the way they used him today pretty much solidifies that he's just going to be like a workman kind of guy. Because after he lost the feud against Damian Priest. I get the idea that Damian Priest feels cold now because they really haven't did anything. He didn't gain anything from beating Black. And then I was expecting, since Black was out for a while to sell that feud, I was expecting him to have a little bit more impact. And instead, he's just guy number 3 to take the pin. In the match is pretty much But yeah, I mean, it's you got so many people, and right now they got so many young people. They just called up. That should be your focus at this point. So I'm like, use him to get other people over. That's fine.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Carmelo Hayes and Miz, the match itself and the setup?
The match is fine. The setup, I didn't like the setup because their conversation was more like set up for catchphrases, so you can say I'm him and that sort of stuff. Didn't like that. The Dragunov thing hanging around and them being buddy kind of almost stinks of he's gonna turn heel on Carmelo, so that kind of got that kind of feel to it. So yeah, that's I mean, I like what they're doing with Carmelo. I like the spotlight they're giving on him. But when they turn him into just a again, a catchphrase machine, too many catchphrases in the WWE, I think it hurts him because that he should be more free to speak the way that he wants to, and not make him be the thing. Same thing with Trick. I don't like the he also has like another like long list of stuff that the fact that he has like his name is played off like Trick Hollywood and all that stuff. I think they went through like 10 dozen nicknames that he has. That was cool, but like him forcing the lemon pepper stepper thing again, like do it once in a while. Don't do it every show.
What do you think of the follow up to Liv eliminating Raquel and the elephant in the room and how that was played tonight?
I mean, I found it funny how I did it for you because you have that big match ready, and I didn't want you to be worried about having win the Rumble. That was great. That was great gaslighting. Yeah, I mean, we're still drawing the Justice League. Wow, it's getting late. The Judgment Day. We're dragging that Judgment Day breakup thing. more every week. So
it's that or the Death Riders. There's a bet, and no one wants to lose.
We will see who's going to So I kind of like the idea of Raquel winning and then Liv choosing her. That it feels like that we did a similar story not too long ago, but that seems like it might be intriguing.
Powder of Repeat, by the way, says a counter to Miz's finish was awesome. I came to play. Goodfella says Melo's starting to shine more, in my opinion. Miz helping him understand the game shows. Derek with a fact for us. The last time Miz won a singles title was cashing in his Money in the Bank against Drew McIntyre on Raw on February 21st, 2021 to win the WWE title. Kaztan says Miz is a smart guy. I'm sure he's coaching Melo a lot. So Derek with another super chat. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate your generosity here and support. On a side note, Derek says, it's Black History Month, yet wrestling programming and media often fail to acknowledge it. Blacks have made and continue to make contributions, but their history is often overlooked. I mean, there's not a proud history of how black wrestlers have been portrayed in this industry. I think we're potentially entering a good period here. I mean, we had that moment. I don't think it was an accident in the Rumble with Obafemi Trick Williams and Javon Evans. They brought in Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys now. Naomi will be back. Bianca Belair will be back. Jade Cargill's getting a big push. Give him a couple months here when everyone kind of gets settled in, but this could actually, it doesn't answer the question of, should they or ought they be doing more to acknowledge Black History Month every year? But I don't think you want to interrupt. I shouldn't say interrupt, but you don't want to have calendar booking of blacks. You just want to book them the way they should be year round, better, and not just pick 1 month to treat them well. So I would argue, I don't want them to think, well, it's like Valentine's Day is the one time you tell your partner, nice things. Just make it a habit. Anyway, Javier, any thoughts on that?
And sometimes not even then.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Obafemi because we haven't talked about him. He kind of
Wilson stole all his thunder.
he totally stole all the shine from Trick Williams from me. I'm a lot more interested in him than Trick Williams right now because Trick Williams was like, oh yeah, he's cool, but then Obafemi, he's got a presence about him. It's I'm really interested in what he's going to do. Reminds me of the guy who challenged T'Challa in Black Panther. I'm guessing that might be what they're going for. The only thing I don't like the nickname of the ruler. That just not a fan of the nickname.
And why not?
It just sounds silly.
Yeah.
It sounds silly. It just that's it almost like we don't want to call him. We just don't want to call you the king. That's almost what it feels like. We don't want to call you the king or something along those lines.
Yeah. What did Tessitore say about when Femi squashed Wilson, he goes, "That's just a red-blooded ruler." That was Joe Tessitore's scripted line. Speaking of Kit Wilson, because he's stealing all of Obafemi's thunder, so let's just keep it going. Derek Mitchell said the line of the night, Kit Wilson, a man who moisturizes and a man who listens. Again, it's very funny. I just have to call out
Fragile Phil was for me, but I may be biased.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yep. It applies in multiple ways. CM Punk can get worked up by some rando on social media and it can ruin his day, and it then bleeds onto national television. And then just the injury bug, that was there. Obviously Drew can shake hands with Punk and go, hey, it's all, we're all in character doing our thing. But anyway. Yeah.
And then my favorite moment would be the B word when Cargill and Grace were on the same page, just fed up with Liv Morgan.
Yes, yeah. They knew they didn't finish each other's sentence. They said the same sentence. Yeah.
And it wasn't the way they use it, which is like, let's pause so everybody understands it's coming. It's like, just shut up, you know.
Yep, exactly. It was that's
natural. It was natural. Awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Good point. Goodfella says, I love a toxic promo. Sadler Version 3 goes, I like the gimmick, LOL. Pile Driver Pete said, Kit Wilson's doing great with what they are asking him to say. No question about it. He is doing great.
When he was doing the Rick Rude hip thing. I lost my mind.
Yep.
Was
And he
so
did it
great.
twice. Like he invited
that was
everyone to. Yep. They can't. You fans can't handle a man who can move hips like I do. All right.
he's gonna be a baby face before the end of the month.
I hope so. I mean, I'd like to will that to happen, will that into existence. Derek Mitchell says this is the era. This is the right to censor of this era. When they did a whole real world spoof there. Kaztan says what Kid is doing now is better than anything he ever did before. He's got people talking. People actually care. Absolutely. Let's see. Gilbert Arbalo says it's based on Drake, the ultimate in his feelings, man. Kyle Fassel says, I enjoy the gimmick. Goodfellas says, Oba talking smack as he marched to the ring looked badass. More of that. Kyle Fassel says, Oba chants remind me of the Goldberg chants. And yes. And Kaztan says, LOL at Wade, but it's fun and entertaining. My thoughts exactly. Hey, it is. It is fun and entertaining. Let's see. Oh, Kit said, Kit, let me inside you was the line of the night. I think that's got to be nominated too. As I think it was as he was hip swiveling. That was tremendous. Let's see. Sadler defended Ruler. I like the Ruler when he's more established on the main roster. It made sense for NXT because he was dominant down there. Yeah, there's a little bit of saying it before it's shown to people. You're telling the large main roster audience something that they haven't seen yet. Let's see. Goodfellas says, shows what a great entrance song can do. I'm happy for Kit. Yeah, the whole video, the whole entrance video and stuff really works. Endorsement of Obafemi. Derek Mitchell says, I'm a huge Obafemi fan, and I believe that if booked properly, he could be a major force in WWE for years to come. Just get him out of Simba Sima attire. Let's see. All right. So we got that. What else was I going to bring up that we hadn't yet? Oh, the Matt Cardona interaction also. Paulo Cruz is alive and back, by the way, hanging out with Matt Cardona. But yeah, Kit Wilson saying, there's another good line. You look like a protein bar with chiseled abs. He said he was making progress about toxic masculinity, and then Cardona showed up. And Cardona and Apollo just sort of laughing after Wilson walked away again was well done for what they're trying to do. What else, Javier, from tonight's show? Anything else you want to jump in with?
I kind of want to put over Lash Legend because I was not really that interested when she first showed up. But I mean, she's rough, and but I think that there's something that you can work with. Chisel a diamond out of that if you're careful and you work really well. Which is why I like her being paired off with Nia Jax, because Nia Jax can help her out. Plus, both of them being powerhouse style also. So I think that. I'm not saying that she's not finished like Austin Aries is. Austin Theory. I ruined the joke. Goddamn. But I think like in a couple of years, it's not great because I know that was a conversation you guys had. It's not out of left field that she might not be main eventing. Just not like next week. I think she has potential down the road.
Yep. Kavanti Smalls says, the more we see Oba, the more I think Braun Breaker lacks his aura and charisma. It'll be a real-life battle to the top, for sure. Derek Mitchell says, the black women are just as strong with Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Lash Legend, and Naomi when she returns, along with NXT call-ups, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Kalani Jordan. And Goodfellas says, Kiana James feels like she's improving. I'm interested. Anyway, yeah, Javier, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that Breaker has an air. He doesn't have the same kind of charisma that Obafemi has, but he has an air of dangerousness. Like he can snap at any moment, kind of like the Steiner brothers did. That they might just break you at any moment. I hate the fact I just made a pun with his name, but yeah. So I think that's something that he has, and I may be higher because I know my brother doesn't like him all that much, and maybe I'm higher than a lot of people, but I'm really high on Braun Breaker.
Sadler says, sorry, the line from Kit was take me in. So anyway, we were just paraphrasing earlier, I guess. Javier, anything else you want to bring up?
Tama Tonga needs to have more singles matches without the rest of the group because his music. I really like his music.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the notes I made. I normally don't. Rhea Ripley at one point was hitting some clotheslines, and they looked really weak. I'm like, hit a little bit harder. And yeah, I agree with the Kiana James because I think they made a mistake when they brought her in. I think they squashed her immediately, and the way that they brought her in is like this. She kind of felt like a goofy kind of gimmick, and now you're trying to make her seem like like an actual wrestler, and I think that put her behind the eight ball. So, but the last couple times I've seen her, I'm like, okay, she doesn't suck. She's actually knows what she's doing.
Couple of chat comments on various topics as we wind down here. Derek Hubbard says, last year Cody and Cena had the night 2 main event. Seth, Punk, and Roman built the better story and delivered a much better match. This is a challenge this year for Drew, Cody, and perhaps others. So we'll see. Do you expect Roman Punk to be the last match no matter what? Javier?
Unless they have like a surprise at the, like an extra surprise. Right. Probably.
Yeah. If Rock shows up and says, hey, Cody, blah, 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 I'm, one-on-one or whatever, and then Drew fights Fatu on the undercard or something, I don't know. Al Archer says, great to see the crowd fully behind Cody again. Yeah, crowd is behind Cody. That's good. No question that he had the crowd on his side tonight. Darrell Freeman said, Cody's promo tonight put him on the same level as Roman and Punk. It also made him feel like once he gets a match that it should call into question who should be the night 2 main event. I don't know if I think it was that good because it's got to be the right match more than just cutting a really good promo, but I get the sentiment. As far as the Bellas go, Goodfellas says it's simple. Nikki's a heel and Bree's doing a babyface. LOL. So yeah, I don't know. Tiffany, according to Cavante Smalls, I agree. Tiffany had a series of botches tonight, some very scary. Thankfully, Chelsea is a pro and avoided catastrophe. Is Tiffany going to make it, Javier, as a top star?
I think I'll say it. She has potential. I think they handled her when she came up poorly. The fact they didn't really turn her. She's playing a heel, but is a babyface. Yeah. Without having established her. Because I get it, because I know enough of what happened in NXT where she was supposed to be playing like a Trish Stratus kind of gimmick.
Yeah.
But it ended up getting over instead of her being a heel, so she kept that on there. But they didn't introduce that when they brought her over, and they just assumed that the people that it would be people would bring that idea with her. They've done a lot better job with the people they brought recently. That they've been introducing them. Doing a lot better job introducing them, so that's why I'm interested in Trick Williams and Lash Legend. I'm interested in Sol Ruka. I'm actually kind of wish that they would start bring her over more often because I liked her. Yeah, and she was the one that they compared to Lita, and it was funny because we were watching the Rumble. My brother, I don't remember if it was my brother or or his wife mentioned, oh, she reminds me of Lita, and it was like seconds later when they actually mentioned that on commentary.
Wow.
So they didn't remember Lita. They were saying, "Oh, she reminds me like the one that was the Hardys."
Funny.
Yeah. So there are a lot of intriguing people coming up. So.
Yeah, very good. There's a comment on Tiffany here in the chat from Sadler. I think Tiffany will be in the top 3 to 5 women stars. I don't think she's dynamic enough personally to be the top star, but her look and athleticism will get her far. Probably a safe bet. Yeah. Maybe number 5.
Her move movement in the ring works. Like it just feels like there's still pieces missing. So
yeah. As always, if you want to be part of the PWTorch team and write articles for our website, we have a deep team, but there's open spots. It takes a lot of people to help cover everything going on in wrestling every week, and we rely on our team to help us out. You can volunteer to help. The email address to express interest is kellerwade@gmail.com. Basically, it's weekly columns in a variety of formats, and we can discuss that via email. Check out my detailed report on tonight's SmackDown and every live Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, along with WWE and AEW pay-per-views and PLEs. Check it out at PWTorch.com. I am here live on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after those aforementioned shows, and then that show becomes a podcast and gets distributed through our podcast network afterwards. To subscribe to that, search Wade Keller and subscribe to the Red Logo Show and the Blue Logo Show. When you go VIP, you get to hear my Wade Keller hotlines following Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown with a 15 to 25-minute rundown of the entire show. So if you don't have a chance to sit through 2.5 or 3 hours of wrestling, or you just want to know what I think of the show start to finish, even if you watched it, I cover everything chronologically there. It's a good, actually, entry point to the post shows. If you're a VIP member, you can start in the morning with the Wade Keller hotline, just get caught up on everything that happened in case you were watching something else or didn't see it, watch TV the night before. And then that leads into the post shows where we assume knowledge. We assume you kind of watch the show or aware of what happened. But the Wade Keller hotlines pair really nicely with the post shows with the VIP membership. And again, these post shows are commercial free when you go VIP. Those commercial breaks are just skipped right past. Please, if you're watching us on YouTube, like this show, comment below, subscribe to our channel, and set an alarm so that you know when we go live. If you're listening to us on the podcast side of things, give us a 5-star rating in whatever app you're listening to us in. Javier, thank you. Have a good weekend. Thanks for staying up late co-hosting.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anything you want to plug or closing words or?
Well, it's nice to finish one of these things and I'm not sweating and drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
It's 50 degrees down here. I got to see the guy while I was at work with the heavy overcoat in shorts and flip-flops, so that was nice. So,
nice.
Yeah.
When it gets like into the teens here, it's like 17 degrees right now, but it had been below zero for the most part and like 20 below for a while for some nights. The teenagers come out and they're just wearing their flip-flops and shorts and short sleeve shirts like at the gas station. It's just crazy. Going in and out of grocery stores wearing shorts in like 18-degree weather because our bodies adjust to it. And then it's just like, well, it's too warm to wear a jacket. So yeah, weather's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Down here, it's crazy because you have people like in T-shirts and shorts and flip-flops. That's me. And I mean, it's not nothing like you, but it's like, 40, 50 degrees. And then you have people with like layers upon layers upon layers that look like they're just went through a snowstorm walking it side by side. That's just amazing.
Yeah. There's a definite contrast from person to person. All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, we can get by the way, if you're mostly interested in our podcast, you can through Patreon or Spotify get a 7-day free trial of unlocking all our VIP shows and the commercial-free versions of our free shows. Just search PWTorch VIP in Patreon or Spotify to take advantage of that. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.